got up against it today for various reasons. A lot of you played the full 2 hours in Slovakia, all the COVID issues as well. Is it sort of a moral point, maybe?
Well, it was a point that we had to dig together, and if anyone questioned us, we showed there that we've got great spirit. Everyone knew that, and togetherness. We know we were short in bodies, so listen, it was out of our hands, and this is the way the world is at the minute. So we made a point. We feel sorry for the lads who can be involved and play for their country. So a little point to go out and do it for them as well, and obviously all the fans.
You talk about being short of bodies. Were you short of energy as well, particularly in that first half, and nobody inside the stadium? Did you really miss them more than ever today?
It was tough. It was obviously 120 minutes on the other day, and to get going, it took us a bit to get going. Obviously, a bit of legs and a bit energy, but we tried. It wasn't like the lack of trying, but sometimes that's the way it is. But we give it a go. We tried and kept going out there and tried to do the things the manager asked for, but obviously we didn't get the goal. But I said another clean sheet, so we can build on it.
Thanks so much for your time.
See you.
Ireland captain Shane Duffy taking the positives out of a 0-0 draw against Wales this afternoon. Dave and Phil are still here. Phil, can you understand what the skipper's saying there? Because he's talking about perhaps how the game's perceived, but as you said, no lack of try, no lack of effort from the Irish team at all, was there?
There never will be. There hasn't been an Irish side that I've seen that hasn't given total commitment to the cause. And you can say, yeah, the game was a bit of a damp squib, wasn't it? But there's still signs of improvement.
Can you see that?
I'm actually quite positive after Thursday's result. I know a lot of media and a lot of press in Ireland are still waiting because we haven't won, waiting for the results and to see this new philosophy come to fruition. But it's too early. But what we can see is a little bit more confidence, creating chances against hard to break down teams. And so that slow progression is going in the right direction. So, yes, frustrated we haven't put this game to bed because we did have, I'd say one glorious chance from Shane Long, which we'll see in a bit. But, yeah, I can understand frustration, the stuff around the camp, the disruption. But, yeah, I still think there's positive signs.
And important, perhaps, that Shane Duffy emphasises the fact that it is a clean sheet. That's the positive, one of the positives that you take out of it, surely, Dave, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think with everything that's gone on this week, I think Stephen Kenny will see loads of positives from today. I look back to watching Ireland take on Wales in the last Nations League. This team performed a lot better this afternoon. I think they've got an identity now. I don't think they've always had that. And even with all the absentees, I still think that Ireland were the better team over the 90 minutes, created them better chances. And they look a lot more creative than what they have done in recent years. So there is loads of positives. And if he can just get a little bit of confidence and get some goals, that's all they're missing. Shane Duffy mentioned it there, just not putting the ball in the back of the net, because he had 3 or 4 decent chances, and especially Shane Long's.
There's only one on target, of course. That was Jeff Hendrick in the 81st minute. But as Phil was saying, decent chances, and as you say, one glorious one for Shane Long.
Yeah, I mean, we were in the ascendancy, and we started the second half quite well. And then this is what we want from James McLean down the left-hand side. We know he's got the quality to deliver, but
do you think he's lost his bearings there slightly?
It's an interesting one because you probably try and head back down to the keeper's right-hand side, but you expect Longy to put that away. And here we go. Horan just tries to get it on target, but I think here when we were talking that he should have maybe put his laces through it. He's trying to be too precise with a left foot, and he's just leaning back. But again, positive play down the left-hand side. Jeff Hendrick with a long-range effort there. I was crying out for a change for Jack Byrne to come on because he can hit from distance with left and right foot. He's been doing so well for Shamrock Rovers, and I thought maybe because Jeff played the 2 hours midweek, there might have been a change. I would have liked to have seen Byrne come on, but who knows? Maybe during midweek.
It's interesting what you were saying, Dave, about seeing the way that the Ireland team did approach this game. Yes, there were no goals scored, but again, it echoes what Phil's saying as we're watching the game and how positive he feels watching this Ireland side. And we talked about Stephen Kenny and about a different type of philosophy that's anchored to what they've been so good at, the things that are prerequisites with Ireland, that fighting spirit, the way they can go about approaching a football match. Have you seen a little bit of an evolution in this short time that Kenny's been in charge?
Yeah, and I think he's done a really good job in such a short space of time. So they're not winning games like that, but they've kept that solidness which they had under Mick McCarthy, to a degree under Martin O'Neill as well. But international football now, I don't think you can play the old British style of get it up, get it behind them, and then really try and press them in. It doesn't quite work like that. So it's much slower tempo. So they've decided to go down a more of a modern route, expansive football, playing through lines. And I was really impressed. What they did better than Wales today was receiving the ball behind the opposition's midfield. I thought Hendrick got in some really good pockets and some real good free-flowing football where they kind of the little dummies, movement off the ball. And there was a few occasions where they nearly got into really good positions to score goals. But I think he'll be quietly happy. I know that there'll be some critics about sort of another, not a 0-0, but not conceding, not scoring goals. But there's plenty to work on, especially if he gets a fully fit squad for the next round of games. It's something to build on.
The one part of the game that perhaps he's going to answer questions about, James McLean, in the end of the game, really, it kind of flashed out of nowhere, really, in the last 15 minutes or so. Can you understand his frustration with this first one, getting a yellow card for that?
Absolutely, I'm as a cynical man, I'm not. I've done that plenty of times in my career. When you're chasing a lost cause, I'm not saying that was deliberate, but it's a bit harsh to get a yellow.
But and this one, you're in that position.
Yes, I think that's when the miss comes down, and we've seen James do this many, many times before. This shows a little bit of petulance there, but the damage is done. Once you've taken that first yellow, you cannot go into challenges like this. Yes, he stops his leg, doesn't fully connect. I think Ampadu, just his training leg catches him, perhaps. But once you steam in at that pace and it's deemed out of control, you're going to get a yellow card. But he's given him a straight red. And
it's another position that they found themselves in where there's a player absent for the next game. Obviously, the COVID side of what we discussed pre-match is that McGoldrick's dropped out with injury. Now another player that's been a key player, hasn't he, for Stephen Kenny?
He has, and certainly midweek he was one of the star players. Lots of energy, lots of endeavour, a good attacking threat, and that's where, as Dave said, we've struggled with goals for the past couple of years. We haven't got a consistent goal scorer. It was James McLean in the Martin O'Neill era, but now he's going to be a massive miss. But as I said, it might be an opportunity for Jack Byrne to get involved.
And Ramsey was back in the Wales squad today and captained the side. 0-0 though, it's finished. Let's get his post-match thoughts with Guy Havard.
Aaron, is that a better point for Wales than it is for Ireland?
Yeah, I think we have 7 points now, and we're quite happy with the way things have gone so far in the group. It was a difficult game today. We found it hard at times, but not to come here is always a difficult place to come, and to come away with a point, we'll take that.
Do you think you should have had a penalty in the first half?
I don't know, it looked a bit clumsy, but I don't know, I'll have to watch it back.
What was lacking today from Wales' point of view, do you think?
I think Ireland have changed their game a little bit. They press a lot more now and they like to play with the ball. So yeah, we have to try and adapt to that. And at times we found it difficult, but we stuck in there, and we come away with a point in the end. So we'll take that, and then we'll go again Wednesday. Was there a sense that you could have gambled maybe when Ireland went down to 10 men, or were you maybe happy with the point? Yeah, I think so. The pitch was a bit heavy today. Grass is a little bit long, so there's a few boys struggling with a bit of cramping at the end. So maybe that had an effect. But yeah, like I said, we'll dust ourselves off now, and we'll go again.
Thanks, Aaron.
Cheers. Thank you.
And Ramsey there, out of the Juventus bubble and back in international action. What do you think of his performance today, Dave?
Even though he didn't really create a great deal, again, I think he was really positive. He's the one Wales player who would always look forward. You see him, if you just watch Aaron Ramsey when the game's going on, a lot of people wouldn't see how much work he does to try and get in positions to get the ball. He's always working off the back of the Ireland midfield. A lot of the time it wasn't coming through to him. The ball, the two central midfielders and the defenders to a degree for Wales weren't taking enough risk with their passing to get him the ball. But when he did get on it, he was always trying to make things happen. A couple of nice passes, always taking on that killer ball. Unfortunately, so it didn't come off, but there's so many games where he is the difference, and it's just great to have him back in a Welsh shirt.
Is he that genuine element of world class that you've got in the Wales team?
Definitely. I think this is the difference of what a Wales and an Ireland would be. I don't think Ireland have got the world stars like Bale and Ramsey, and we have to use that more, I think. But he is a world class player, and I said to him before the game that what he does with a football at his feet is incredible. He's more like a street footballer, the way he moves with it, always looking to try and hurt the opposition, which so many players nowadays will always take the safe option. He's definitely not one of those players, and he will score goals as well.
Wales 0-0 to finish, but plenty, I'm sure, for the managers to discuss off the back of this. We'll hear from both of them.
When did you get wind of the players that were going to be out today?
Last evening, it was kind of going around. We were meant to have a meeting that didn't happen. We got told to stay in our room and stuff, so nothing was really confirmed until this morning, but look, we obviously had enough players to play the game and played well.
It's sort of the second game running, isn't it, where preparations, literally in the hours going up to the game, have been disrupted by COVID.
Yeah, but I guess that's why you have a big squad. Gives other people opportunities to play and come on the pitch and try to prove a point and make sure they can be in the squad for the next game or in the starting 11 for the next game. So look, whatever happens, whoever doesn't play, whoever's been ruled out, it's giving other people opportunities to prove to their manager that they should be there.
I'm sure you weren't expecting to play most of the game as centre half, were you?
No, I wasn't, but look, I felt quite comfortable there. I played a lot centre half growing up, so it was nothing that was too strange to me. I felt like I picked up the positioning well enough. I mean, I get the ball away a few times trying to risk a few passes, but that's part and parcel of the game. You don't keep the ball 100% of the time. So yeah, look, I really enjoyed it. Playing beside Duffy just gave me a different perspective on the game. Made me realise when I do play right back what centre half see. So maybe I won't shout at them as much when I play right back.
Well, our pundits certainly appreciated your performance. You were the man of the match. Just finally, you've got to go again. How's the body? You played 2 hours, didn't you, on Thursday? A lot of them did, and you play again in Finland next week.
The body will be fine. Like, we'll never use tiredness as an excuse. Like, I'm quite used to playing a lot of games last season. I played a lot of games this season with Tottenham. We played Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, and that will continue after the international break. So, look, fatigue's not going to be a problem. I can complain about tiredness when I've retired.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Fair play for Matt Doherty there, giving it a pleasing sense of perspective. These are the games that are coming up. Finland on Wednesday, then back in action in November against Wales once more, and Bulgaria on November the 18th. Phil, given what we've seen off the back of the lead up to this game and how Ireland have played, is it good preparation for how they've got to think about what could happen around those games that are coming up? Because it's not just about, as we've seen today, about what goes on the pitch. It's everything that's around these camps now, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's a good element of firefighting around squad selection these days, but it may have a bearing on his selection going forward. The more versatile players might make it into the squad, but as Doc has said there, the players that have had their chance today have done well, and that augurs well for Ireland going forward. I thought Jason Malumbi, as a 21-year-old in midfield, looked so calm and mature in there. He certainly staked a claim as a holding midfielder going forward. But yeah, there are different elements now to an international manager's job. I think domestically we've got it right. We've seen that week in in the Premier League now. But because you're getting players from different countries coming in and all congregating together, makes it a little bit harder. But yeah, just something I have to deal with.
Okay, so unbeaten so far in the Nations League campaign as it stands. Ryan Giggs now, Guy.
Ryan, what did you make of your team's performance today?
Yeah, it was a bit scrappy. We didn't really get into our rhythm. I think you've got to give credit to Ireland for that. They pressed us. I thought we started the second half a lot better, but then again it got a little bit scrappy, which suited Ireland more than us.
And does the point suit you more than it does Ireland?
Yeah, I mean, 3 games, 3 clean sheets, 7 points, 2 away games, so you have to be happy. But our performances obviously need to get better, and they will.
And certainly from your reaction on the touchline, it feels like you felt you should have had a penalty in the first half when Darren Randolph juggled the ball.
Yeah, I just thought that he dropped the ball, and then I think it was Ethan who went for the ball, and then he sort of touched Ethan. So yeah, I mean, some you get, some you don't.
The fact that you've only scored a couple of goals in the 3 games, is that a concern for you, and the lack of chances today?
Yeah, I mean, we need to create more. I think that comes from the build-up. We need to get our good players on the ball, our players who can make the difference on the ball quicker. But again, credit to Ireland, they pressed us. Yeah, we need to create more chances, if we're going to score more goals.
And Kiefer Moore was quiet. Was that because maybe he wasn't 100% or he wasn't utilised properly?
Yeah, again, I think, lack of chances, playing to his strengths, trying to get Aaron on the ball in them little pockets, and then, getting them wide areas and crossing positions where obviously he's dangerous.
He's a miss, though, isn't he, for the next game with that yellow card and suspension?
Yeah, he is. You know, that physical presence that he brings, and he brings other players into the game. But again, you know, when you miss out on players, or when players are missing, then it gives another player a chance.
7 points from 9, as you say, and 2 of your remaining 3 at home. So it's in your control, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much home advantage you use it when you can in your. But yeah, I mean, few players back, few players who needed the minutes today. So yeah, we'll look to Wednesday, see how the lads are over the next few days, because it has been tough. It's tough for everyone. But we'll look forward to Wednesday having 7 points out of 9.
Thanks, Ryan.
Cheers. Thank you.
Well, this is what Ryan Giggs was asked about that penalty shout in the first half. Dave, have you thought about it anymore with regards to whether it should have been a penalty or not?
I still think it's a penalty. It might have been a soft one. VAR was there. I think it'd be given as a penalty.
Clumsy was the word that Ryan used. Wasn't
Yeah, it definitely was. It's a bit like James McLean. When you make a mistake, like McLean did, we're over on the ball, and like Randolph did there, he dropped it. You try and make up for it straight away, and he's sort of gone a little bit too much at it. And we spoke about it at half time. It's the second arm, his right arm, that comes over the shoulder. I think that's the one which means it should have been a penalty.
Okay, no win as yet for Stephen Kenny. Let's get his post-match thoughts now with Guy Havard.
Stephen, a long, exhausting week. What are your thoughts at the end of it?
No, I think the players gave everything in themselves. I think it was considering all that happened and losing all the players in the match day. I think all of the players that played, can be extremely proud of how they performed. I felt we're not saying it was a perfect performance. It was an evenly contested game, and we had probably the better chances overall. I think considering the players had 120 minutes on Thursday night, flew back 6 in the morning, getting back, all that went on, and we lose 3 centre backs today. Obviously, we lost 2 earlier, and Kevin Long came off early in the game, so Matt Doherty had to go in there, and I said to him we'd have to be careful that he didn't make that position his own. But he did very well, of course, in that position, and all of the players, of course, showed great attitude and passed the ball quite well. Just to couldn't get that goal.
Yeah, it's just funny.
No win, but relatively happy, Stephen Kenny there, Phil.
Yeah, of course, all the off the field distractions would be playing heavy on his mind, but he's fielded a good, experienced side today, made the right tactical calls. And again, that progression that we've seen, that slow burn that Ireland are in at the moment, good pockets of play, good passages, triangles, trying to be creative in the final third, but it's just sticking the ball in the back of the net. But they're creating chances. If they weren't creating chances, then you start worrying.
Imperative that it gets that win sooner rather than later?
Absolutely. It's that you don't want that weighing heavy on your head, and he'll be thinking about it in the back of his mind, because there have been good performances. Just what does it take? It gets the first one. That's the hardest one, isn't it? It's just taking too long at the moment.
Gents, top stuff as ever. I'm sure I'll see you both again very, very soon.